Some squash?
Yes, please.
Yeah? How many of you are there?
2, 4,
Altogether?
6, 8, 10, 12, 13 including yourself.
Oh, we don't worry about me. It can be.
Ya, saya rumah.
Good seat.
Saya rumah balik. Yeah, bro.
I can feel the heat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pass this around.
Orange juice.
I would never get cold, man.
Juice. Ini goreng mas ya?
I don't mind here. I'm sorry.
That's alright, man. Is it recorded? Yeah. Him though, not us.
I'm recording myself.
You can get one from them.
Asian today. Go around this way. Nice hand.
Right, guys, raise your glasses.
Imagine doing that with the
You can do it with your bare hands actually. Be confident enough as long as you go that way first. You see all those tiny little hairs? Yeah, you're just getting rid of them. So that now is stingless. It's these very top leaves here that we will be pulling off and putting into our cups and pouring hot water on them, letting it, which is why you start with the bark, the birch bark. You're all going to start a fire in a second. The birch bark is what we call tinder. That's your tiny stuff. Feel it?
Don't forget, you're gonna have your tent. So you're gonna have your tent pegs.
A hill with that. Not for
hold that down.
Do that with
One hand.
That's easy, isn't it? There's no water.
What's in it?
Wait a minute.
you there.
Well, I think you. Bloody hell. Wait. That's
Imagine you buckle over a stone, you go flying around.
It's alright.
There's no
It's
food
alright,
in there,
isn't it?
that's
No food
So
or
no
water?
food, no water
No
in
food,
there.
no water. Oh,
I like through the air. Okay? So when you are sleeping on the ground, you will lose about 80% of your heat through the ground, especially when it's damp. And by the way, it's always damp. These camping mats are great. This one was £5. It self-inflates. I just top it up from the valve there. Done. It's absolutely brilliant. In here, I can cook, I can boil my water, I can do my drinks, I can drink out of it, and I can eat out of it. And more importantly, I can hold it on the fire. Okay, so that's what these little things are for. Yeah. So, or if you've got 4 or 5 of you, you have very quickly, wherever you are pretty much, you can find a couple of Y sticks. I'm gonna hold that for me, yeah? And you just hang your pots along there, okay? And I'm gonna show you later how to make that really easy. Because if you can get 4 Y sticks, every time you want to take your stuff off the fire, you just take it and put it on the ones next to the fire, check your stuff. Make sure it is, in this country, at least down to 2 degrees. So when you go in the shop, you'll see on the tags, it will say what it is capable of keeping you warm in. And if it goes down to 2 degrees, you should be all right if you're camping through the summer. How cold? Army surplus shops. This was second hand. It was 15 quid. It's ex-army issue. It is water resistant, so this will keep me dry. So here, and there are different types. Once I screw that on there, like that, open up that, open up those, pop my, can you hear the gas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long does that last for?
I've probably had that for a year and camped with it 6 or 7 times. So, to keep yourself hygienic and clean. One, because your friends will still want to spend time with you rather than avoiding you because you'll stink. But also, you will feel so much better. And it's very simple to just warm up some water on the fire. Pop it in one of these, find a nice over the fire if they've got wet. The last thing you want is wet stuff, so it's always useful to have some of that with you. first aid kit. Make sure you've got your first aid kit. You never know when you might need it. It's always good if you're travelling as a team to have some basic stuff that are individual and then share out stuff between you that you don't necessarily need to all take. You know, you're not going to use more than one tube of Savlon cream, for example, between a team. So anything's good to have something that's really easily accessible so that you can just keep sipping water all through the day. If you get dehydrated, what can happen if you get dehydrated?
Faint.
Death, you know, basically, death. The signs are headaches, dizziness, wood to make a fire and get warm. You won't necessarily need them on your Duke of Edinburgh, but they're a safe way of carrying a saw. They're not too dangerous. The only thing I would say with using one of these, don't run around with it open. Make sure it's clipped, because I've seen somebody do this. They tripped, fell and closed it on their hand. And that is not a good situation.
Did they lose the fingers?
They didn't lose their fingers, but they did cut straight through to the bone. And that is disgusting. And they didn't full force on them. If they had, they would have cut their fingers off. So here, the head torch, do not forget extra batteries. Okay, and also the other top tip, make sure you know where your torch is before it goes dark, because there's nothing more annoying than it's dark, where did I put my head torch? You know, you almost have to have a sort of military frame of mind when you're camping to make it easy. You need to know where everything is. Every pocket you have on your rucksack, make sure you know exactly what goes where. Okay?
Just to add to that, it's quite important because although you get into the campsite during the day, when you need the toilet in the middle of the night, it's pitch black outside, don't think there's lampposts around.
Nothing.
There's nothing.
Okay. Okay. Put a bit more of that on. And just so we don't have to concentrate on this too much. I'm going to put a bit of kindling on. Good things for starting fires, obviously birch bark, pine cones. Really, really good for fire. So they're really good fuel, and I'm just going to put a few of those on because they'll light incredibly quickly. See them smoking? The reason they light so well and the reason they burn for so long is because they're full of like a sap, like an oily sap that's very flammable.
What do you need here?
Wow.
Okay.
You will feel that just bring the top of it now and then you can dry it. No, I get like a tissue.
Okay. Tissue's good. Cotton wool is even better. You can carry a little fire strikers, but I tend to use my knife. I've gone a bit overboard today with two. It's because I want you to all have a go. A knife is a really important tool. You're probably not, I don't know how much you're allowed to have them on Duke of Edinburgh. Don't do what I do and go into the garage with one on your belt. Not a good idea. Knives are a serious thing. They're very dangerous. You have to use them very responsibly. They are illegal to just carry around. I don't know if you're all aware, but it's the same conviction as carrying a gun. So it's a serious thing. You cannot walk around places inappropriately with a knife. Because I work in the woods, to then generate a spark. Okay? And you can see how this works. It's very easy. A lighter, you've got about 80 lights in a lighter, and they always run out at the wrong moment. One of these is much higher, plus they're not affected by the wind or the rain. So now I can use it. I use this to light my fire at home inside. I don't use kindling anymore. First, and some bark so that you can have a practice. How many of you were there when I gave a quick demo the other day?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, okay. So, collect them back in at the end, okay? These are not as amazing as my knife, but they are pretty good. fold back on your hand, which is not good. Lots of people you see using knives like this with their thumb out. That's for amateurs. Okay, we hold our body, that no one is sitting there. Okay, so safe working distances, make sure that you will. There'll be a certain point where you're a little bit out of control. Okay? So if you were trying to stake this off so that you can put it into the ground, which you're all going to do, and you're going to make some tent pegs as well, drop it, but also
It's facing towards
you
them
never
so you can
want to
retain
be,
them.
again, there's a major artery there. Pass that round actually, make sure, I want to see you all passing it the right way. But I want to show you what this is. This is a bevel, this is the bevel here. The thickness of this means I can do bigger jobs and split wood with it. And I'll show you that later, because you're not always going to want to carry an axe around.
Safety. Lock.
There you go.
Everything locked.
There you go.
Everything locked.
Yeah.
You've got one.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you the one without the safety on.
You know how you don't what does that do?
Yeah, you won't get this training anywhere else. You go backwards. Follow it.
Nice. That one's a bit.
Look at those.
Is it pulling you? What are you doing?
You have to take his wife to the base of the line.
You can use your knives on your fire strikers. You can either do them, but just be very careful. If you're going to use it like this, you need to hold this with your thumb, and this is if you want to scrape some of that metal off.
No.
Yeah, and then generate some sparks like that. It's a good way of doing it.
Can you bring your
Okay.
hands from that? Thumb.
These ones, exactly the same thing. Okay, this is a pure block of magnesium, so I can scrape off. Can you see all that metal coming off? Can you see that silver stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm now going to light that. This is a brand new one, so I need to get down to the actual flint.
Ooh.
It's very easy to slip when you've got the knife open like this, so just be careful. I'm desperately trying to light that little thing there. These sticks are sometimes easier. There we go. Can you see, did you see the metal go up there?
Yeah.
Okay. Some of these are new, so if they're still black, you need to scrape that first layer off first. Okay.